Hello everyone, welcome to a huge edition of VAFA Tragics. Great to have your company for another week. On the show tonight, Old Trinity's demise and just how far are they going to plunge. We'll take a look at the Big V rep sides as rep footy comes back with a bang this weekend, celebrating 125 years of VAFA football. Ivanhoe's massive upset win over the Preston Bull Ants will be discussed in the divisions. We'll take a look at red cards. All that and more on tonight on the Tragics. Let's get into the show. Nick Armistead, good evening.
Andrew, thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
Brenton Mann, good evening.
Andrew and Nick, very good to be here. A big show's planned.
Huge.
Yep.
That was best intro I think he's ever given.
Thank you very much. What tickled your fancy on the weekend, guys? Let's get into the plays of the week. Who did you like?
So it was 125 club round on the weekend, as we all know, where we celebrated all the volunteers who have contributed to the success of our club over the past 25 years. I found myself at Ely Park versus Masala. Now, Ely Park could not work better. They've been in the VAFA for 25 years. Masala are our youngest club. So I'm giving my player of the week, now that we've got all that, to Travis Holden, the president of Ely Park. Now, exactly what we were celebrating are those volunteers who do whatever it needs to take to help our clubs run. Travis, he's not just the president, he was putting up tarps to stop the wind getting the ladies at Ladies' Day, and he was also working the canteen later in the day because they had no one else to do it. So Travis, that's my performance of the week.
Performance of the week? Is that what it's not plays of the week?
No, it's performance of the week, Andrew.
I get that every
You've still got your mind in Europe. That's my take on that. Now, I've gone to Yarra Old Grammarians. A man who's played 2 games in the seniors, 2 in the reserves, but averaging 4 goals a game. Samuel Savage, 5 majors on the weekend in a big win for Yarra. Now, Nicholas Chamberlain's on 28 goals, Simon Yo's on 23 goals for Yarra, but they're going to have to put time into Samuel Savage over the next few weeks. That's my player of the week.
That's great. Great that we've got it. Performance of the week.
Performance of the week. Oh, you got it in my head.
On to William Buck Premier Section action. We mentioned Old Trinity off the top of the show. Nick, this one is worrying signs more than the way they lost the game to St Bede's Mentone Tigers in the end, because they were with them for a while, then just they lost quite comfortably in the end, 37 points.
Yeah, absolutely. It's something they've been doing over the past few weeks, which I'll get to after I tell you how it all happened. They were trailing by 4 points at the last break, but the Tigers clicked in the fourth and piled on 7 unanswered goals as they ran away with the win. George Rowlands, who's been in great form, Michael Barnes kicked 3 majors each for the Tigers, while Braden O'Toole was named best on ground. Andrew Kiriakopoulos returned to form for the Tees, which is fantastic news, while Jack Osborne top scored with 3. Now, the Tees have now lost 5 in a row. They sit 8th on the ladder, and something they haven't done since losing 6 straight from rounds 11 to 16 in 2014. Now, what's happening is they're losing these games, especially these last 5 on the trot, in one quarter. If you add up all the points, they're with every single other side over the last 5 rounds. If not for the one quarter, we've got -7 against St Bede's in Q4. We've got -4 against the Blacks in Q3, and that's all happening besides the Blues, where they lost it in the second quarter. It's all happening towards the end of the game. So I'm putting it out there. It's that lack of a big target again. When you start to get tired towards the end of the game and you need that release, you need to kick it forward, something to give a contest. They just don't have that. They've got those mid-sized forwards, Weatherson, Nicolosi, Joyce, or Polidorus, all those boys which they've had and been really good over the past couple of years, but they just lack that big forward.
Would love to have some Old Trinity guys come on the panel, because we've seen the success that you can get from coming on the panel from some of the players in recent weeks. But I think the problem's bigger than that. I think it's a case of they've been twice to the summit of the mountain. They haven't quite made it. They've got largely the same side in most weeks from their grand final sides. So these guys, we know they can play footy. Yeah. I think it's just a case of the mental anguish of having to go through it all again, of having to avoid that extra slice of pizza or avoid that extra beer on a Thursday night, just to be ready to go on Saturday and be as fit as you possibly can. Trinity used to be the side that ran out games the best. They were the finishers. Yep. They would kill off sides. They would be close up till 3/4 time. They'd run all over the top of them on that big daily oval. I think just mentally it's been a real challenge for these guys to get up this year. They're going to have to find something, because they're in relegation trouble.
Yeah, they don't want to go down to Premier. I think it is also they've gone to the Trinity model. Teams are playing like Trinity has been playing for the last 2 years. They're playing with speed. Now, they might be playing a bit better than Trinity at the moment. Maybe the Trinity doesn't bat as deep as we thought they did. Maybe it was their fitness that got them over the line in the last 2 years. I'm not too sure. But yeah, they're in big trouble in the relegation zone.
But their stars are still performing. Brendan Yetzi, Anthony Scott, who didn't play on the weekend, Gabe Hamilton and Luke Picconi, they're still performing. They've been in the best 3 or 4 times in the past 4 games, each and single one of them. So it's the depth players at the moment which might be doing exactly what you're saying.
So bottom 5 or 6 players that can really define a side's season. Yep. And if they're not playing well, if it's left up to the stars and they've been found wanting.
A couple of other quick results that interest me on the weekend. De La Salle now inside the 4 at the expense of Zaz after they overcame them late in the game. And Uni Blues also cementing a spot in the 4, beating Blacks in their derby. Big results. Zav's dropping outside of the 4. How's their premiership defence going?
It's not going well. They're going to lose Brendan Goss for a large chunk of the second half of the season, which is going to hurt them. Now, Blues are the form side of the competition. Along, obviously, Scobbs on top of the ladder. They're flying at the moment, but Blues are right behind them as the form side.
Yeah, absolutely. And Blues had a tough game in the Uni derby on the weekend, but it was Timmy Geepan again that stood up. Now, he's been doing it largely for the past month. He's been solid after coming back from injury, but he's that big target up forward. Yep. Kieran Harper actually didn't play on the weekend, so they did it without him, which is really positive signs for Blues.
We'll take a break there and get into the second half of the show. Still on the menu, rep footy, Ivanhoe's win over the Bull Ants, and of course we'll just talk red cards right after this on the Tragics.
G'day, Jared from Therapanola Footy Club. Tune into VAFA Tragics to see how muddy our ground can possibly get.
Anytime is the right time to get fit at Anytime Fitness. Access over 400 gyms across the country 24/7 and discover why more Australians train at Anytime Fitness than any other gym. Go online and register now for your free 7-day pass and feel something better.
Welcome back to the Tragics. Time now to take a look at the divisions. And Brenton, an unbelievable result with the Hose getting over Preston Bull Ants in Division 1.
They're now 2 games clear of relegation. 2 weeks ago they were looking down the barrel. Big win against Preston, who now dropped to 4th. Now, they were the form side with Pegs, probably about 3 or 4 weeks ago, Nick, and it was a big loss that Bull Ants would have penciled in.
Absolutely, they would have penciled it in. And now because that top 5 in Division 1 is so tight, with Oakley breathing down their neck, just a game behind, because they would have penciled it in, they've really put themselves in danger of missing out on the 4 towards the latter half of the year. But Ivanhoe, on the flip side of that, like you said, they now go 2 games clear of relegation, winning a game, again, that they probably weren't penciled into.
I think they're safe.
Ivanhoe safe?
Yeah, I think they're a good enough side to stay up, and so they should. I've really enjoyed Ivanhoe's rise over the last 4 or 5 years.
They've been a very good side without obviously winning a premiership, as you said, over the last 4 or 5 years. The time I've been in the VAFA, they've been a very strong club.
And that's one of the things that'll hurt them a bit. They just haven't got that flag, and as you know, a lot of VAFA people say, you need to just pinch a flag on the way through, because that builds your club for the generations to come with premiership reunions and the like. And if you can't do that, then all of a sudden, your last premiership, I think for Ivanhoe, was back in the 80s.
Yeah, it was a long time ago,
I think they've got an under-19s flag in there somewhere.
They did. I think probably 2 or 3 years ago,
But they just need that senior flag, so they'll come good eventually.
Also, Division 3. It's a very tight division. There's 2 games separating 3rd and 9th, and that's phenomenal. Incredible. Now, one of the feel-good stories of the year, Richmond Central. Round 5, they won for the first time in 638 days. From that point on, they've gone 5-2. They now sit at 5-6, and they're breathing down the neck of the top 4. That's an absolutely fantastic story for the Snakes.
Yeah, well, they were missing a lot of players towards the start of the year, and they were always going to be, I think, a strong side once they get those players back. Yep. But now that it is so tight in that division, they've really placed themselves well to attack 3rd or 4th, because there's no way they're getting 1 or 2 with Powerhouse and UHS. Yep. But that 3rd or 4th spot, they've put themselves in a really good position.
The good thing for Richmond Central as well, the next 4 weeks, Point Cook, Latrobe, Westbourne Grammarians and Albert Park. Yep. They're all 50-50 games. They win 2 of those. They go to 7-6 and really looking at finals at the end of the year.
I also enjoy their social media work.
They're probably one of the best clubs in the VAFA on social media. Very good.
Absolutely. On to rep footy. Time now to talk rep squads. Of course, the squads for the women's and the men's have been released, which is great. The games, the men playing on Saturday down at Frankston against the AFL Victoria Country, and the women playing against AFL Goldfields out in Ballarat on Sunday. Looking forward to both games. Will you be going to either game?
All 3, under-19s as well.
And the under-19s? Oh, sorry. I forgot about the under-19s as well on Saturday.
I will not be able to make it. I'll be disposed on the weekend. But I will say this. Did you 2 freeze on the weekend?
Yep.
Now, I believe it was -5 in Ballarat on the weekend.
Oh, was it?
Yes. So hopefully it's not too cold for the girls on the weekend. They might be playing through frost conditions. Snow, maybe.
I'm sure they'll be fine.
10:15 a.m. in the morning. It'll warm up. They'll be right. But I, Brenton, found myself at Women's Big V training last week, and I've got some breaking news. Andrew Leonard is going to be the runner for the first ever VAFA Women's. Now, I thought there was a bit more to it, so let's watch this and see how he responded to my pretty pointed questions. Lenny.
No.
Lenny, is there any truth to the rumour you are trying to kick out JK? Johnny Canis is the first ever women's coach.
No, I'm not going to have any comment about this. Sorry, mate. I'm not doing media now.
Truth to rumours.
It's doorstop interviews, mate. Doorstop. Like, haven't you learnt from Bucks what he said?
You've got to give to the media.
You can't do this to us. Sorry, mate. See ya.
And there we have it. He's not trying to take John Canis's spot as senior coach.
Well, as if I would.
Did you enjoy the doorstop, Andrew?
Well, you know, you don't expect to be doorstopped when you're coming off the training track or making your way to the car. And I sort of feel for the players that do get doorstopped now. And I sort of, having gone through it, I can see what sort of a pest, you know, Nick is in terms of his media guys.
He didn't do what Juddy did and forget where his car was. Did you see that during the week?
No,
I saw that. And Neil Barmer's one.
Barmer, of course, that was a famous one.
No, great stuff. No, the girls are going great. The squad's been released. Really excited to work with all the girls. Yeah, as you said, going to be the runner, and that'll be good on Sunday. Are you coming to the game?
I will be there.
Yeah,
yes,
very
absolutely.
good. Looking forward to seeing you out there, Nick, in Ballarat. It will be an early start, unfortunately. Did have the option of going at normal sort of 2 o'clock time, but that would have mean we didn't get to play on the best ground possible, which we're going to play on the new ground at Ballarat, which has been redeveloped.
Eureka Stadium.
Eureka Stadium, albeit as the curtain raiser to the VFL match. Unfortunately, the VFL, for TV reasons, is being played at 1 o'clock, which means that the girls' game has to start around the 10 o'clock mark. So it will be an early start on Sunday. Great squad being put together. The girls have been fantastic. I've got to say, this has been the best thing that's happened to the VAFA, women's football. Watching the girls go about playing their footy, their enthusiasm for the cause. We obviously had Gemma on last week to talk about women's footy. Unfortunately, she's just missed out on the squad. But it's a sensational thing that's occurred, and the momentum of this is just only going to continue to grow. And I remember when we had Michael Sholly on a few weeks ago, and he sort of said he'd be surprised if there wasn't 60 or 100 teams in a couple of years. I was a bit surprised with that, but I can sort of see how that momentum's come about. The biggest shock for me, undoubtedly, is all these girls that have never played footy before, all of a sudden wanting to play footy. So you can see the full squad up on the screens there. Great to see. Looking forward. That'll be cut down to 24, which will travel to Ballarat. So 6 girls will be unlucky to go through, and captains and vice captains to be named during the week as well. On the men's side of things, Nick, it was great to see the VAFA release some fantastic news about the jumper today.
Yeah, how fantastic does that look? Now, and a lot of work has got into it from a lot of people, including yourself, Andrew, and David Scott also this year. But every single player, the 1,454 Big V senior players who have played in every game since 1925, their name is on this year's Guernsey for the senior team. So, special award for those who will be playing on Saturday.
It's a fantastic initiative, and one of those items that will, I'm sure, after they've played, will be hung in the pool room of many a player.
And this is something I want to see. I want to see like caps be awarded out to effectively each player. So we see the Australian cricketers with the number that they were capped on their shirt. I think this is something in the Big V now that we've got the full list complete. It's been painstaking work from Scotty and I think myself back in the day to get it there. And I think there's a number of others as well that contributed to that list. Ian Cordner as well was a massive contributor to that list. A heap of names that helped out there. But onto the squad at hand. Who are the names that have stood out for you guys that are going to step forward and really make their way into the squad?
I think Jared Gleeson is playing fantastic football at St Kevin's Old Boys, and I think he's really going to stand up at rep footy. What about you, Nick?
Yeah, well, I definitely agree with Jared, but we were speaking off air, and there seems to be a running theme that if you come on VAFA Tragics, you start to play really, really good football. Not that they weren't before that, but all of Josh Freezer, Al Armstrong, and Sam Hibbins.
Yeah, Sam Hibbins is the one. Just standout performance on the weekend for Collegians. And Collegians obviously without a few against St Kevin's on the weekend. St Kevin's minus a few players as well. But Hibbo was sensational in his efforts to try and get Collegians both back into the game a couple of times and continue ploughing on all day. And I think he'll certainly be in that squad when it's named later in the week.
Sure.
We'll take a break there. We've talked rap footy, we've talked William Buck Premier and the other Premier sections and divisions. It's time now to get onto the issues, etc. We'll be doing that right after the break.
Hi, I'm Santia and I'm from Beaumaris Sharks, and make sure you catch our team on VAFA Tragics.
Anytime is the right time to get fit at Anytime Fitness. Access over 400 gyms across the country 24/7 and discover why more Australians train at Anytime Fitness than any other gym. Go online and register now for your free 7-day pass and feel something better.
Welcome back to the Tragics. Time now to get on to our discussion point of the night. And it's the red card discussion, something that everyone in the VAFA is familiar with, of course. So we've had red cards and indeed black cards in the competition for as long as certainly I can remember. I don't know when it first was brought in. Of course, red card, 12 minutes in the sin bin where you can replace the player. Black card, 12 minutes off for the game for the person that receives the black card, whilst you play as a team for 12 minutes with 17 men. The discussion's been raised off, of course, Tom Bugg's incident with the weekend with Callum Mills. Melbourne and playing Sydney on Friday night. Lee Matthews on Saturday, and I think Chris Judd again today. Too big. You can't get too big a names than that in the AFL. Have said bring red cards into the AFL. What do we think?
The fans want action, and I think, I'm not too sure if the AFL will cave to the fans' demands, but their argument is Mills was off for the entire game from the 4-minute mark of the first quarter. Now, that Sydney are hindered by it. Why aren't Melbourne hindered by it for the rest of the game? So I see that point of view, but it's going to be, what is going to be the grey area is what sort of act are they going to give a red card for?
A red card's any reportable offence, isn't it? So that's how it works in the VAFA. Any reportable offence is a red card. Yep. It just depends on the severity of that offence, whether it's red or black.
Yep.
I think it works fantastically well in the VAFA. My issue with it sometimes, and we've seen this over tribunal incidents in the past, is where a player has been reported and the videos maybe help them out at the tribunal and they end up getting off. They're penalised on the day, and they're ultimately found not guilty at the tribunal.
Yep.
Well, that's a huge issue, but I'm all for it with you guys. I'm obviously a big fan of it because of how severe it is losing a player for the duration of the game. And when it happens so early in the game. So I think we've got it absolutely right. And I was talking to Benny off air beforehand. I was like, talking about the incident at hand and say, what would he give? And he's just like, straight up, he was a black card. So that's coming straight from Benny.
But that's for... No one saw it, though, on the night. He didn't get reported on the night, did he?
I believe he did. I believe he got reported on the night.
Did he?
Yep. I reckon I heard the umpire say, when there was scuffle was breaking out, there's been a report, I've reported him, and so he was reported on the night. So I think there was 3 umpires there on the night.
Yep.
The TV cameras didn't get it live.
Yep.
Obviously, in the vision, they was just Callum Mills laid out on the ground, but there was vision of it at the ground. So yeah, it's
No, we've seen the vision. It's more just whether the report happened live or not.
I believe it happened live.
Okay.
I believe it happened live, and he's in for a long time on the sidelines.
It's an interesting talking point. We're happy with the way the card system works in the VAFA.
I'm very happy with it. Yeah,
love it.
On to dissection time. Let's take a look at the questions. Nick, kick us off with the main questions of the night.
Andrew, straight back to you. Will Ajax hold their position in the top 4 during Maccabi games?
I can't see it. I've got to say, this happens to them every 4 years in the Maccabi games, and every year Ajax have got so many good players, and they lose a lot of them going overseas and travelling and going to Europe and things like that. It's happened to them again. They're going to lose a number of key players, and I think that just puts a bit of a hole in their side, which means they'll drop points through this critical midpoint of the year. Has the weekend's loss to Ivanhoe cost the Bullants a double chance, Brenton?
I believe it has, because you've got sides like Ormond, Pegs are flying, St Mary's. Now, Bullants, probably 3 weeks ago, they were up there with Pegs as the 2 form sides of the competition. They've haven't had a good 3 weeks. That lost to Ivanhoe is that classic, I reckon, kind of like 8-point game. Ivanhoe, very good on the weekend. Now they're 2 games clear of relegation. Bullants in 4th. I believe that St Mary's, Ormond and Pegs will house the top 3 spots, and Bullants are looking very precarious in 4th.
With Oakley in 5th.
Yes, in Oakley in 5th. The Crushers are coming. And to you, believe you're going to Andrew. What should we expect from the women's Big V game this weekend?
We'll expect nothing but the 4 points. I think if you look inside the 4 walls of what we've been able to do down at the club, we're taking it 1 week at a time. The club, I mean the team, we're taking it 1 week at a time. And as a coaching group, we're just looking for a consistent performance across the board from all the teams. Having said that...
It's really got to him, hasn't it?
Oh yeah, straight to his... And he said he didn't want Canis's job.
Having said that, we'll expect the girls to put on an unbelievable show, and let's hope we stick it right up them.
Exemplify the Big V spirit.
Absolutely, they will. Who will win speaking of the Big V, who's going to win the BOGs and the Spirit of the Big V awards on Saturday, Nick?
Love these awards, and I think because we're going to win, I have full faith that we're actually going to take it up to the country. I think the team that Stewie Power's putting together is A grade. I think Jason Tutt, the type of form that he's in at the moment for De La Salle, he'd be leading the coaches' votes. He'd be very close up there at the moment. And I think that him off a half-back flank will absolutely clean up. And Tom Paul, big fan of Tom Paul, you know that, everyone is. I think he'll win the Spirit of the Big V, and I think we'll get up.
He's got a couple of spirits already, Tom.
Yeah. He knows how to do it. Branson, straight to you. Is the Division 4 grand final matchup decided?
It's a bit hard to justify this in round 11 because we've seen sides that have been undefeated, like North Brunswick, just fall over occasionally in the last few weeks of the year when it comes finals time. But I believe, yes, North Brunswick will be in the grand final, and also Aquinas are up there as well.
Going out on a limb there with North Brunswick there.
Huge.
It's hard to discount their form when they're undefeated.
That's all we've got time for on the show tonight. Hope you've enjoyed it. It's been a short, sharp one. We'll see you again in 2 weeks' time. Good luck to all the players representing the Big V over the weekend, and let's hope the VAFA has 3 big wins. We'll catch you again in a fortnight. Tragically, this week, St Bede's Mentone Tigers didn't, in the women's side, didn't quite have enough trainers and helpers with their side. In fact, the girls took the field with only 16 in their playing group in their match against Old Carey. Now, Madeline Buck, their star fullback, unfortunately went down with an ankle injury halfway through the second quarter. One of the only St Bede's Mentone Tigers trainer ran out to assist her, to help her off the ground, and she was down in the goal square and they called for more assistance. Seemingly Madeline's day was over. I spent watching the game in preparation for the women's game on the weekend for the Big V, went out there to go and assist her off the ground, and another onlooker yelled out, "Quick, she needs a doctor, someone call a doctor." Now this is the beauty of the VAFA, only for Madeline to yell out, "Don't worry, I am a doctor. I've only rolled my ankle." And that tragically is my take for this week.